Coming up, I make it back from the brink in possibly the most ridiculous match I've ever played in my life. So the last week has been pretty awesome, to be honest. I've just been spending time with Ella in Alvor. It's an amazing part of Portugal in the Algarve. And although the results haven't been amazing, there's been some really tough battles. It's hard not to enjoy playing pro tennis in a place like this. You can just step off the court, go straight to the beach, get a coffee. It's all been super relaxed, and obviously I'm very lucky to have Ella here with me. She's so supportive, helps me out with so many things. Traveling on your own to these events can get very tedious, so I always find traveling with her makes things just a little bit more special, as long as we avoid those EPBs, of course. It's great because waking up in the morning, things are super chill. We just have some breakfast and of course, can't miss the coffee. And I just find this really helps me because the atmosphere is so relaxed that I'm actually playing more relaxed. While I'm on court, I'm playing better. I have more energy, so it's definitely worthwhile. It might be a little bit more expensive bringing Ella, but I always find that it's worth it. So let's get down to business. Time for the tennis. So it's Saturday, and because of the rain delays during the week, it means that we're going to have to play 2 matches today, which is pretty tough because they're both best of 3 sets. So it means I could play potentially 6 sets in a day, which would be insane. And because of this, we decided that we were going to have a little bit of a shorter warm-up. So we only ended up hitting for about 10 or 15 minutes. Normally we hit for about half an hour, but we decided that it was a sensible decision to conserve a little bit of energy. I mean, we were going to be hitting so many tennis balls anyway. And the conditions here are pretty slow. The courts aren't very quick and the balls get pretty fluffy and slow up anyway. So we were going to have time to find rhythm during matches. It was just really important that we made sure that we weren't killing ourselves in the warm-up before having to play 2 matches, potentially 6 sets. I could already sense that my whoop was going to go crazy. So my first match of the day was against Mirna Mafdi. Apologies if I've absolutely butchered the pronunciation of that name. But anyway, what did I know about my opponent? Left-handed, very solid, very good player. And he's had some really decent wins recently. He's been on really good form. So I knew this one was going to be a tough match. In some of my previous matches, I was going a little bit passive. So I was making sure that in this match, I was going to be as aggressive as possible, especially because I was going to have to play 2 matches in a day. I didn't want to go really long in the rallies, get really fatigued when I have the weapons to do damage and shorten the rallies. I really felt like I played well in this match. The balance between aggression and patience was probably the best that it had been all week. And I was finding that even when I was getting into tight situations in the score, I was still able to be aggressive, which is something that I've really been working towards recently. And I knew that in this match, my opponent wasn't going to give me anything for free. He's very solid, so I was going to have to be very patient, work the point, and just make sure that I take any chance to move forward, get to the net. It's really easy when you're playing an opponent like this to try and force things, try and go too early. And that's almost what they want you to do. They want you to make mistakes. So, like I said before, it's just such a fine line between aggression, constant pressure, and forcing things unnecessarily. Because the conditions are so slow out here, I did actually slightly change my serve, just placing the ball toss slightly further in front of me. This means that I can just get more of my body behind it, and I really felt like it made a big difference. I hit quite a few aces and a lot of unreturnables. And out here, 3 points on serve are a bit of a luxury. They don't happen very often. So this first set was a bit of a battle. I was feeling great, playing well, moving forward. I'd set the tone really well for how I wanted to play. I just needed to keep that level of aggression and intent up, especially in these tighter moments when we're coming to set points. It's so easy just to drop your intensity a little bit and let your opponent back in, especially out here when the conditions are slow. I was just trying as much as I could to attack with my feet, try and use my court position instead of going really risky with the ball pace. But not gonna lie, I was a bit tight. I mean, anyone would be in this situation. I just feel like I needed that 5% extra in this rally just to step up and take the ball on. So I ended up giving away the first set on a double fault, and to be honest, I was absolutely gutted. I remember feeling at the time, this is going to be such a long way back into this match. But my body felt good. I was determined to fight on, but I wanted to play in the right way. I wanted to be aggressive. I didn't just want to, get into this battle of grinding it out. I wanted to keep moving forward. I knew that that was the right thing to do, and if done well, it was proving to be very, very effective. I felt like I was playing well, and I got the break in the start of the second set. I was feeling good, I had the momentum, and I managed to carry that all the way until 5-4. Obviously feeling a little bit of pressure to try and serve the set out. I knew that all I had to do was keep doing what I was doing before, keep moving forward, but my opponent was just making things a little bit tricky. He was managing to put the ball in some difficult situations, and then I also missed a few on top of the net. But these things happen. These small lapses in focus can cost you so dearly. And then after that, my opponent got his confidence back. He had the momentum. And I was just trying to do my best to stay mentally tough, stay in the match. Anything can happen at these stages of matches. Pressure can get to people. It's always worth just hanging in there and fighting, seeing what happens. Unfortunately, my opponent was just proving too solid today. He played a very good match, fought very hard, so full credit to him. Obviously, I was gutted. I honestly thought that was one of the best matches that I'd played all week, probably in the last few months. My intention was exactly where I wanted it to be. So as you can see on the screen, I've burnt about 1,200 calories just in that match alone. So I was going to have to put that in at some point, but the first thing was to get in the gym, do some mobility, and although I was pretty gone about the match, I knew that I had another match, so I was going to have to remain pretty professional and think logically and just kind of do what was necessary to make sure that I was recovered and ready to go again. You haven't really got time to be sad about losing in these events. Then the next part is refueling. You've got to have the energy to go back on court, so I just nailed some pasta. It was actually really good, but super expensive. 2 hours after stepping off court for my first match, I was back to play my second match, and this time I was taking on Ivan Perez Martin. So this was the third place playoff. So there was still everything to play for, good cash on offer, and I'll be honest, I didn't get off to the best start. I found it really hard to get into this match. After playing so well in the morning, I was just really disappointed about how I started this match. Went 4-1 down pretty much straight away in about 15 minutes. Gave away the first set. And I think above anything else, I was struggling more mentally. my focus was a bit all over the place. I wasn't really process driven. I was more focused on winning this match. So in the second set, I decided to approach things a little bit differently. I just thought to myself that I'm going to play relaxed, I'm going to play loose, going to try and have a bit of fun, go after it. And I wasn't going to focus on the score. I was just going to try and focus on playing good tennis, no matter the score, no matter the moment, and almost just play with nothing to lose. And I actually started to do that, initially going a breakdown in the second set. But I know with these matches that they have a long way to go. Even if it feels like the match is nearly finished, things can change very quickly. So it's always worth sticking in there, fighting and playing. I mean, I was there to play tennis, so why not? And I mean, as you can probably hear, there is a lot going on at these events. There was a guy cutting a hedge in the back of the court, so there was that sound. There was police driving up and down the road behind us. There was so many distractions that it was actually quite hard to keep the focus. So something that my opponent was doing really well was just getting the ball to my backhand high up. It's not normally a ball that I struggle with, but he was doing it so often, just neutralizing me. It was becoming very difficult to get out of that situation. And although I fought my way back into this second set, my opponent was fighting very hard. All credit to him. He was playing some really good tennis, making it super difficult for me. And to be honest, at this stage, I thought it was over. I think anyone would. And to be honest, from here, I have no idea how this happened. So somehow managed to throw myself a lifeline, got the break, and now back on serve at 5-4. And I was feeling really good. I felt like I had the momentum, I was loose, I was letting things go. Back to 5-all. This is where things really start to get interesting. I was actually noticing that my opponent was starting to stand further and further back when returning my serve. I think this was probably due to the situation, and it actually made me feel more confident and more willing to move forward, serve and volley. But heading into the breaker, I knew that things were going to be a little bit more of a lottery, but I had no idea how insane this was going to turn out. I was trying to use my backhand line as much as possible just to get it away from his inside out, inside in forehand. Then this happens. Not gonna lie, I was snapping about that net cord. But anyway, we fight on. So 4-1 down. I knew that my opponent would be a little bit nervous, so I knew that this was the time to try and press. So I took the baseline, went early line, and then went big on the inside out. I knew that in these situations, my opponent was just so comfortable grinding it out from the baseline, so I was just going to try and come forward as much as possible. Not gonna lie, as things got tight, I did actually start to get a little bit nervous myself. I knew that if I could win this set, then the momentum would be with me. I know how difficult it is to have chances to win the match in a second set and then have to play a third set, so that was also in the back of my mind. So, 4-all, I knew this was a pivotal moment. Big point in the tiebreak, so I was going to try and be pretty solid this time, disciplined, not go for anything too early and play with really good margin. And actually had a lot of chances to move forward and move in, but I was just a little bit hesitant and didn't take those opportunities. I remember thinking here, learn from the mistakes of the past rally, get in, and my opponent actually ended up hitting a joke pass. And then I managed to save one match point with a good serve and sneak. And this takes us to my opponent's second match point on his serve. I pretty much knew what he was going to do. He was going to go to my backhand, and then he was just going to keep it there all day long until I made a mistake. I knew that I was going to have to come up with something. Managed to get myself out of jail with that backhand down the line, saved another match point with my serve, and was ready to battle at 7-all. I felt like I played a really brave point at 7-all, coming to the net, finishing the point, and now it was actually my set point, and I did feel a little bit nervous, a little bit tentative. Of course, that's normal, set point in a breaker like this, already saving match points, but as usual, I was just going to work with the nerves and do the best that I could. Unfortunately, ended up playing a very passive point, and now we were back at 8-all. I missed a return and then had to come up with something again to save another match point. I'm not sure a diving drive volley was the right thing to do, but it got the job done. My thoughts at 9-all were do not get involved with another long rally at the baseline. Just get forward. Trying to learn from the mistakes of being passive on the first set point, I then went for something that wasn't on, missed in the net, and then forced a backhand down the line, arriving at another match point for my opponent. And this time, took the initiative, put the pressure on, and forced an error. And this is where things start to get a little bit mad. I think this was my third set point, and I was just thinking, right, I'm going to be as tough as possible. I'm not going to give my opponent anything and just grind it out for 1 point. And yeah, what happens next is pretty nuts. As you can probably imagine, I was pretty pumped to get through that set, saving 5 match points in an epic second set tiebreak. And there was actually a bit of controversy at the start of this third set. I wanted to go for a toilet break, and I'd already used one at the start of the match, so I was basically given time violations because the toilets were miles away, and it resulted in me starting love 30 down on my serve in the first game, so I ended up getting broken and then had to break back. And during this time I was thinking, I've been through so much in this match, I can't give it away now. These things can easily trigger you mentally, they can make you frustrated and lose your focus. And I was just trying so hard to not let that bother me, even though it felt unfair at the time. Now I accept that it was part of the rules. But anyway, I got the momentum back, and then I was facing breakpoint chances on my opponent's serve to go 3-1 in the third set. And I was just going to really try and keep my foot on the gas. I knew that any chance to get in long rallies, my opponent was going to work as hard as he could. He was really good mentally, so I knew that it was my job to keep the pressure on. My opponent wasn't going to make mistakes. I had to go out and win the match. After battling my way through this third set, I came to the stage in the match where I realised that I was very close to winning, and I actually tightened up quite a lot. But this is the thing, the nerves are never going to go away. It's just about how you deal with them, how you play with them. So I guess what I was going to do was just work my way through it and do the best with what I had. And weirdly, it was actually a bit of a change-up because I'd been applying so much pressure. I think it caught my opponent out a little bit that I suddenly started letting him attack. So coming to my first match point. So probably not the way that I would have wanted to win this match, but I was just grateful to get through it anyway. Such a tough battle. Credit to my opponent. I've seen him play a lot of matches and he's a very tough competitor, works very hard, and to be honest, probably deserved to win that match, but I somehow found a way through. And yeah, now it's time to smash some cows.
That was probably the second most ridiculous match that I've ever played in my life. The first one was about 3 days ago with me. Finishing at like what? We finished at like 20 past 8 or something, half 8, the previous one.
Yeah.
In the wind and the bad lights, whatever, but that was just ridiculous, like saving a few match points, like, and the guy's good, like I've seen him play a lot, he works really hard, like he actually probably deserved to win, dare I say it. He probably had the better attitude throughout the whole match, well, it's true. You know, I was going in and out of like, not tanking, but like almost just letting things go a little bit, partly because I needed that, I think, because I was playing very tight, very tentative. Like I played very tight yesterday, a bit tight this morning. But yeah, I managed to like scrape through it, and as you can see now, we are absolutely teeing off. I burned about 1,700 calories there.
It won't. There we go.
Just in the first set. Yeah, fuck. I was just on my right leg. But no, it's like, yeah, I mean, this isn't going to replenish like 1,700 calories, but it's a start. And then we're going to go to the mall afterwards, the shop, and probably get some, probably not the cleanest calories. But I've just been told that I'm first on at 9 again. So we go again. I've played 2-hour match this morning, 3-hour match. So I played 5 hours of tennis. Yeah.
Brutal.